Holy cow! All I've done so far is play guitar. We already got 25 people in the chat and a €10 super chat from our buddy Ross. Thank you, Ross. I'll get the ball rolling. Thank you, comrades. Solidarity. Thank you for always supporting our project. Much love. Okay, this ought to be good. LOL. Sup, comrade? What up, Insomniac? Hello, Comrade Frost June. Hello, Where Pilgrim. Welcome back. Willingly Nomadic. Afternoon, friends. Willingly Nomadic. Good to see you again. A video on V-Shred, LMAO. You bet, Cade Grenade. Should be good. Oh, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. I've had enough of this V-Shred guy. My back hurts today. I've been grinding, getting ready for the U.S. Open and wrestling at the end of the month. Trying to make the world team. Trying to represent the United States at the World Championships this year. And V-Shred is full of shit. All right, I've been researching. I've been figuring out what compounds are best, how to train best, how to rest and recover best. And everything V-Shred tells you is wrong. And everything he tells you is designed by a corporation to make a bunch of money. It's a pure scam. It is a scam. I really want an hour stream of Eddie just playing guitar. Maybe at some point we'll do that. I'm down. There you go. Afternoon, comrades. Afternoon, Christopher Romero. Enjoyable start to the stream. Nice. Thank you, Pashiko1. Glad you made it here in time. Oh, yeah, brother. Support the cause. Love it. The big man himself. Just spent an hour with a neighbor's cat walking around, so the day is pretty good. That sounds like a pretty good day. Glad to find you catch you live after seeing all your memes. You're a funny guy. Thank you. I appreciate it. When you think about it, the guitar is both a stringed and an acoustic instrument. It is, once you get really good. Or not to say that I'm really good, but once you learn how to slap. That song is hard. All right. Enough guitar. It's starting to hurt my lower back. My lower back is so messed up, y'all. So freaking messed up. But that's all right. We're going to tough it out. We're going to do a stream because I got the time. Self-taught, 100%. Never had a lesson. Well, I had a couple lessons in like third grade, but since I've actually started playing, never had a lesson. Well, I did that, what's it called? Musician. You ever use musician? Totally unrelated, but what were you saying? But can you play any Cuban revolutionary songs? I can't. I wish. Maybe I should learn some. I got to learn some socialist folk songs. I've got a cheap electric guitar, but there's no luthier near me to fix the nut. And a set, if nut files cost more than the guitar, so I can't learn. That's frustrating. That's why you got to get an acoustic to start. Plus, the acoustic will make you punch. It'll make you push down harder with your fingers, and it'll strengthen your fingers. So then electric will feel easy. Even historical board games are Western propaganda. Axis and Allies portrays the USSR as a punching bag that has to be saved by the West. Interesting. I've never played that game. Believe it, though. Like, entertainment media is one of the main ways that they indoctrinate us with imperialist propaganda because people are maybe skeptical of political media. People are skeptical of CNN or Fox News. They know they're bullshit. But people don't know that like the movies they watch are BS. They don't know that Lone Survivor. I've heard so many people like so many Midwesterners like American Sniper and Lone Survivor really give you respect for the military. It's like, you know, those movies were designed by the military, right? To make you want to invade Iraq and Afghanistan. And there's one part in the American Sniper movie where his wife is like, no, don't go back to Iraq, Chris. And he's like, well, what? Am I supposed to wait until the Iraqis come over here and attack you and the kids? And then she's like, okay, I guess you got to go. Like, you know, Iraq never attacked us. Iraq never attacked us. We were attacked by Osama bin Laden, the leader of an extremist group that was backed, armed, and funded by the U.S. because they were fighting the Soviet Union in Afghanistan. And then eventually that splintered into Al-Qaeda, as well as other groups like the East Turkestan Islamic Movement, other extremist groups. And they probably carried out 9/11, Al-Qaeda. And then we used that as justification to invade them and attack Iraq, who had nothing to do with it, and topple the government of Saddam Hussein, who had nothing to do with 9/11. But yeah, Chris Kyle's got to go over there and kill a bunch of Iraqi civilians before they come over here and get us. Sure, and that movie won Best Picture. Oh, American Sniper, he kills women and children, yeah. Yeah, I got me and my friend, funny story, we got pulled over on the way home from our friend's house, and we weren't on the way home from American Sniper, right? This was a lie, but my friend lied to the cop. And he's like, oh, we're on our way home from a movie. I'm like, why are you lying to this cop right now? And the cop goes, did you see Sniper? American Sniper was out. He got like real excited. And earlier he was mad at us because my friend goes to pull his registration out, and it was his dad's car. And like some condoms and dip, like chewing tobacco, fell out. And I don't know. We were probably too young to have the chewing tobacco, so he could have, you know, given us a ticket for that or whatever, even though it wasn't my friend's car, and my friend didn't even chew tobacco, and neither did I. But the cop started like giving us crap, like, oh, are those your condoms? Oh yeah, nice condoms in the car. Like, it's not illegal to have condoms, and like, it's better to have them than to not, and to have a kid. But anyways, so the cop goes back, and then he comes back. He goes back to his car and then comes back, and he's like, where are you guys coming from tonight? My friend's like, seeing a movie. He's like, did you see Sniper? Like, gets real excited. My friend's like, yeah, we saw American Sniper, and I hadn't seen it, and he had. And I'm like, and the cop's like, what a great film. What a great movie. It really shows you how good the U.S. military is, and, you know, what it takes for them to fight for our freedom. And then he let us go with no ticket. Probably because we're white. So that was awesome. Hate that movie. Yeah, but if you ever get pulled over by a cop, just tell him you're on the way home from watching American Sniper. You know, be like, that movie hasn't been in theaters for 8 years. And you just be like, yeah, I love the movie so much, I rented out the movie theater and, you know, had him premiere it again. The cop will be like, you go on your way. Oh, the cops have things that depend on revenue from tickets on the deadline for funding goals. Yeah. The cops all have quotas. So don't speed at the end of the month, because you'll get a ticket from some cop trying to hit their quota, which shows you how capitalism ruins law enforcement. There are just so many brain-dead morons who are itching for a chance to be a hero by killing someone so having demented. Yeah, the last cop I got pulled over by, I was like, dude, you are immature. You remind me of kids who I knew in high school who had anger issues because they had problems socially. And you have a badge and a gun right now, and you could shoot me. That was the last cop I dealt with. And he was nice, honestly, but just like talking to him, I was like, how is this someone who has a gun who's allowed to shoot me? Like, this is clearly not a stable person. The fact that they have quotas is ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, that should be illegal. Eddie, why are you getting pulled over so much? Dude, I get pulled over all the time. I swear they know who I am. I swear. The last time I got pulled over, pulled over, I had to go through all the DUI tests and take a breathalyzer, and passed, blue zeros, and they let me go. But the breathalyzer doesn't even count in court, so they could have just said I was drunk and gave me a DUI and ruined my life. And then the other time I got pulled over before that for a headlight out on the way to work. So they made me 15 minutes late on the way to work. And they pulled me over right in front of my boss. So they were all worried about me. And I was like, oh, I just had a headlight out. And they're like, well, why did the cop make you get in their car then? Because the cop pulled me over for a headlight out and then made me come back and get in his car. And like I was getting arrested, and then like ran my plates and everything and found out I had no criminal record, and then let me go to work 20 minutes late. But I'm like, why did I have to get in your car, you jackass? I hate cops, dude. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not sorry. I hate them because they're an armed body of the state who serve for the suppression of the working class by the ruling class. But I also just hate them because they're not nice. They're not cordial. 40% of them, at least, I mean, this is what is admitted to, at least 40% of them are domestic abusers. Hate them. Got pulled over for my tint. I've never been pulled over. Interesting. I've been pulled over probably 20 times. You are too white to be treated this way. True. That's what I should say to him next time. I should be like, just kidding. But I do have another story. Like, my girlfriend in college had this little red car, and she needed to renew her license plates or get her license plates renewed for like a year. And me and her drove her car all around town for like a year. And then we let my roommate drive the car once, who happened to be black and happened to be a bigger guy. He wrestled heavyweight. The first time he takes her car, gets pulled over. They ran the plates and found out the plates were expired. We had been driving that car for a year, and they never ran the plates on us, on the white girl and the white guy. Soon as my black roommate drives the car like a couple blocks, oh, we better run his plates. He probably stole this car. Scumbags, dude. I cannot stand cops. But you know who I can't stand even more than the cops? V-Shred. Because V-Shred is lying to the American people, okay? V-Shred claims to be the singular guy. This one guy who's got the secrets to working out or whatever. But it's actually just a fitness model.
Ridiculous margins, which gives
who was scooped up by a corporation who is now using cheap marketing tricks to try and sell you their fitness program. That is what V-Shred is. For those who don't know what I'm talking about with this V-Shred thing, this guy, I believe his name is Vince. You've probably, if you're into fitness at all, you've definitely seen this guy on your YouTube ads. Okay, and he's been exposed time and time again for not knowing what he's talking about, for spreading misinformation, for doing ridiculous workouts, for teaching people how to deadlift the wrong way and in a way that's going to get them injured. Selling products like Test Boost Max that have been scientifically proven not to work and to actually have the opposite effect of what V-Shred will tell you, yet they continue to grow in subscribers. They continue to grow in following because there's so much money behind it. So like I said, it's really like a corporate board of like 4 people. It's a company who scooped up this fitness model, and they basically write scripts for this guy and have him film these videos saying, I'm going to teach you how to eat, an extra large pizza every day and still have 6-pack abs, right? He'll say something that's literally impossible, scripted for him, to try and sell this V-Shred garbage that has been reviewed and has been proven by experts to be garbage. And then they just blast him over YouTube via advertising. So they have all this money behind this guy, and they try and put these videos of him, selling V-Shred to you before every YouTube video you watch, right? So they're basically just using the power of money and using the power of quantity over quality to grow their following and, grow their money. And as this guy, More Plates, More Dates, Derek was showing, who is, a science-based fitness YouTuber, who is a fitness YouTuber whose products, Gorilla Mode, I recommend because they're science-based and they are actually useful and they are actually based on, what's really going to help your performance and your fitness. What was I saying? This guy has exposed VShred, exposed his products, but he shows here that VShred's subscriber count is still going up.
30,000 subscribers. I do not think this channel is even representative of 2.2 million real people. I think a lot of it is artificially inflated numbers. Like, there's no way.
So essentially, there's no way that this Vince guy could be growing in subscribers this much just based on the quality of his products. Because if you look up reviews for all of VShred's products, or if you look up scientific breakdowns of their products, they're garbage, right? They're using ingredients that aren't proven to help. And they're using, like I said, money to put themselves in front of as many people as they can. But even more, I think what's even more disgusting than that for me, as someone who's actually into fitness and who actually wants to help people, reach their fitness goals and, live a healthier lifestyle, is VShred uses the scummiest tactics, right? It'll be like him with his abs, with his six-pack abs and like a full large pizza. And they'll be like, you think I eat salad? Heck no, I don't eat that rabbit food. I'm going to eat this full large pizza tonight and still have a freaking 8-pack. Okay, it's physically impossible. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you've been tricked by 6-pack shortcuts or by VShred or whatever into thinking that you can have an 8-pack and destroy large pizza every night for dinner. But if you want to have an 8-pack or if you want to have visible abs or a 6-pack, you pretty much have to starve yourself. You pretty much have to give up food that tastes really good or at least eat it in much, much smaller quantities. That's just simply what it takes. That's why I don't love the fitness industry brainwashing and the idea that you need a 6-pack to be healthy, because you don't, right? You can be a healthy person and still eat pizza and some foods that you like and get your exercise in while getting your vegetables and your nutrients in and lifting weights and still looking healthy without having a freaking 8-pack, right? But what they do is, and one of the scummiest tricks that they use, this VShred guys will be like, Harvard experts have just discovered a new way, a loophole, as if there's a loophole in the human body or a loophole in physics, that if, they've discovered the secret to losing weight, right? And if you just buy VShred's products, you can have the secret to losing weight too. And you never have to worry about your weight again. You'll always just walk around and have a 6-pack, right? That loophole does not exist. That loophole does not exist. I'll repeat. What does exist is the law of thermodynamics, which you can't get around, right? Calories in, calories out. You have to burn more calories than you intake if you want to lose weight. That's the only way. It's the law of thermodynamics. There's no loophole invented by Harvard medicine to always look good. But if you blast that message over YouTube before every single video to people who are uneducated, to people who just want to lose a few pounds, to people who want to get in shape, right, they fall for it. And there was a very, very, very similar scam to this a while back called 6-pack shortcuts. Does anyone remember this? And the 6-pack shortcuts guy would just be like eating pasta and eating pizza and stuffing his face and sitting there with his 6-pack abs. And he would be like, look, I eat whatever I want and I still have a 6-pack. And it's just a scam, right? That guy probably did fasted cardio, probably depleted himself of water for like a week, and then sat down and ate pizza and filmed it and then said, look, I eat pizza every day and I still have these abs. Buy my program. And the margins on it are incredible because they're not even selling a product. They're selling information, right? They're selling like the VShred app that gives you a bunch of workouts, which, as I said before, this guy Vince, his workouts aren't even legit. There's one where he's like holding some machine, like a whatever, just a basic lifting machine that you would pull or do triceps on or whatever. And he's just rotating his chest like this, right? There's one where he's taking a kettlebell and he's catching it like this, which is bad for your elbow. There's one where he's deadlifting and he's, showing you to use your back, which is doing deadlifts not the right way. When I got tired is how I hurt my lower back and why my lower back hurts so bad right now. So they're selling garbage. They're selling nonsense. It's literally a scam. It's literally a scam, you guys. And I know it's unfortunate. It's sad that there's no loophole to, six-pack abs without having to try. But there's not. And when you lie to people and when you tell them that there is some loophole that Harvard scientists have figured out or whatever, and all you got to do is buy our V-Shred app, you trick people and you put people down the wrong path and you fill people's minds with misinformation. And you make it harder for them to actually reach their fitness goals and reach an achievable, sustainable, healthy weight or body mass or whatever. Something, capitalism creates a world after its own image, something. I forgot who said that. Yeah, some guy, some really smart guy. I believe his name was Marl Karks. Thank you very much for that, Sam Dixon. But what's making me so mad about this voice crack number 2, you're right. Then after the video, he went and forced himself to puke. Yeah. And a lot of these, fitness influencers develop bulimia and other things as they try and maintain this almost impossible standard. But it's so frustrating to see this misinformation, especially as I'm training for the U.S. Open, like I said. And, right now I do have visible abs, right? If I flex, right? I'm actually looking somewhat like the V-Shred guy, okay? I am not eating pizza. I am not eating anything that I want to eat. In fact, I'm waking up every morning, taking yohimbine, or not every morning, but something like yohimbine or some fat burning formula. I'm doing fasted cardio, and then I'm eating for the first time at around 2 p.m. or 3 p.m., and it's a salad, right? And this is not really something that's sustainable. This is not something that I would recommend. This is something that I am doing as an athlete at the senior level, at the highest level in my sport, wrestling, to try and get down to a weight that's 12 to 15 pounds below my natural weight and compete at a high level against the best guys in the nation. Right? That's what I have to do to maintain a six-pack abs. And even then, it's, some days I have a 4-pack. So for this V-Shred guy to be telling people that they can just eat pizza all the time and they're going to look like him, you're filling people's heads with misinformation, and then people are going to think like that. People are going to eat pizza and they're going to be like, wow, I don't look like the V-Shred guy. This sucks. What is this? Like, let's be honest with people. But this is the capitalist system. This is every industry under capitalism. Every industry under capitalism incentivizes scammers, incentivizes quantity over quality, right? Why offer people a high quality product when you can just scam them and make a bunch of money right away? So there have been a lot of exposés on V-Shred, but someone recently basically put together like a freaking movie about it, explaining what this is all about. So I'll shut up for a little bit and we can watch it. Sorry, let me answer a few of the fitness questions actually for a sec. Do you take casein protein before bed? I don't. I just take protein after lifting at night or after wrestling at night for muscle rebuilding. We should nationalize the health guru industry. Definitely. Let's just absorb it into Midwestern Marx. Like, I'll do it. I'll run it. I already do fitness videos on our Patreon, patreon.com/Midwestern Marx. Fitness and self-defense videos. Anyone help draw historical parallels to influencers? They play such an odd role in society. I was thinking about that today. Celebrities and influencers. I don't know what you'd compare them to. like kings and queens back then, maybe. Eddie, what fat burner do you take? I've been doing cardio before work, but the weight isn't going anywhere. Yeah, I would do. This is what I take for fasted cardio, and I don't take it every day because I don't want to build a tolerance. But A2 AM from Gorilla Mind or Gorilla Mode, this video we're about to watch, it's this guy's supplement company. That's what I take. It's yohimbine, or no, Rowelcine. I can't remember if it's Rowelcine or yohimbine, but one of those chemicals. And it's really good fasted. I also drink yerba mate. I do a lot of fasting. I just am hungry all the time. I'm hungry right now. Which is why it pisses me off when I hear V-Shred talk about you can eat large pizzas every day and have a six-pack. No, you can't, V-Shred. I'm sorry. You're a liar. Dude, this guy's been a scam for years. If you're into fitness, this is well known. But his thing is marketing to the low info masses. Exactly. It's pushing, it's a scammy message that low info individuals looking to get into fitness will believe. Mainly, you can eat large pizzas every night and still have a six-pack. And then there's tons of money pushed behind it. So this guy's videos play before your YouTube videos as an advertisement. So it's not aimed at anybody within the fitness industry. Everybody within the fitness industry mocks this guy. But it's a fitness industry scam that is sold to people outside the industry, which is the quintessential like capitalist mutation of fitness. The way that capitalism uses something like human health and human fitness to market a product and make a profit. Sorry, one more thing. Lenin was big into fitness. We need to use him as an example to turn fitness people into communists and communists into fitness people. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more, the five heads. This is part of why I'm doing this video. And that is also why On Physical Education is one of my favorite works of Marxist theory ever, which is a work from Mao Zedong, where he says, civilize the mind and make savage the body. Gorilla Mind has misleading supplements, and then there's a Reddit post. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be debate over any supplement I recommend, right? Any supplement I recommend, you're going to be able to find a Reddit post that says, this is garbage. These people are lying to you. This is terrible. But for me, as not a professional athlete, but as a senior level athlete, somebody whose main purpose right now is to train and compete, Gorilla Mode is the most science-based supplements you could get. They're far less misleading than any of the other supplements. And I'm sure there's criticisms to be made of them. And, you know, there's Reddit posts claiming that every supplement company on earth isn't that great. But for my money, Gorilla Mode is awesome. And, oh, sorry, just so I'm being as transparent as possible, this is a stimulant-based weight loss formula that also helps you exercise and do fasted cardio. But you can stack this with nitric, which is another Gorilla Mode product. It's not stimulant-based, but it's like the most intensive pre-workout that you can take that's not based on stimulants. So you can take one that is based on stimulants, combo it with a hardcore one that isn't based on stimulants, and you can just be like, whoa, let's go work out, baby. Where you at, V-Shred? Fight me.
What's up, guys? Derek, moreplates.com. Today we're going to be reacting to We Need to Stop V-Shred by Josh Brett. So I guess I'm late to the party because I see the top comments. Greg Doucette saw it 3 days ago. Scott Herman saw it yesterday. Some other big influencer fitness guys saw it yesterday. So I just stumbled across this by accident, and Josh Brett is a new creator, it seems like. He only has 9,000 subscribers, even though obviously the reason I'm bringing this up, by the way, is because I got a few minutes into it, and I've never made a V-Shred specific video, but you can imagine what my
Cade Grenade, and I can't believe in 2023 V-Shred is seriously talking about body types like ectomorph, right? This is like, if you're like into the fitness industry, this is stuff that's like 3, 4, 5 years old. Like nobody really like starting about 2 or 3 years ago, nobody really talked about this anymore, right? Because they realized there's no scientific backing behind this idea that some people are ectomorphs, some people are endomorphs, right? Like the human body is more complicated than that, right? And you can understand this just by taking a dialectical or a Marxist approach to fitness, right? The human body is made up of all these complex functions, all these complex chemicals, all of which work together, right? Which is why I love More Plates, More Dates so much, because he gives the scientific perspective on these things. And oftentimes his videos go on forever and he overloads people's mind with the science because it's complicated, right? It's not as simple as this V-Shred guy is trying to make it. It's not as simple as if you're an ectomorph, you know, that means that you can eat large pizza 3 times a week and do these workouts and you'll have a 6-pack. And if you're an endomorph, you can do the same thing, but you know, you have to just change up your workouts a little bit and you can still have a 6-pack. That's not how it works, right? If regardless of your body type depends on the level of chemicals that you have. And if I take testosterone, right, that might boost my testosterone and boost certain functions, but it might change how another chemical works in my body, which might change another function of my body, right? So you have to be careful about what you're putting in your body. You have to understand what you're doing. And, you know, really, if you're going to experiment with like hardcore chemicals or even, you know, steroids, you need to be getting regular blood work to figure out how, you know, your body operates. You know, understand that all of your body's functions are interconnected, and that is interconnected with how you eat, your nutrition, the supplements you take, right? So it's very complicated. And what these scam artists like V-Shred try and do is simplify it. They try and make it, oh, it's just this simple, right? It's this simple. Harvard researchers figured out a loophole to give you a 6-pack while still eating pizza and ice cream and cookies every night. Okay, it's not how it works. Some people can probably eat pizza and ice cream and cookies every night and be skinny, but that's going to go away eventually. You're going to nuke your metabolism eventually, but yeah.
What my take on it is, when you've seen some of the stuff like Greg has made, some of the stuff other guys in the industry have made that are well respected, about V-Shred, like you could just imagine what I would, you know, speculate on. You'll get some of my opinions in this video, by the way, but this was very well done, and it doesn't seem like he's a new creator, so, you know, maybe if I can, it looks like the algorithm's picking it up quite nicely, but, you know, if I can help get it some more attention, like, great, because this was very well put together. I only got a few minutes in, and I was like, okay, this guy put a shit ton of time into this, and it's very, very well, it's like one of those like documentary style things that you can tell the guy spent a lot of time creating this very, very thoroughly edited like masterpiece, essentially summarizing like all of the important points. And I haven't watched the full thing. I got a few minutes in. I was like, hey, this thing is very good and it's worth reacting to.
Hi, Pedamio. Yeah, this is a great video. Whoever this guy is that put it together, give his channel a follow. If you're into fitness and if you want to get into fitness, follow that guy. And then follow this guy, More Plates, More Dates.
In case you guys don't stumble across it, I think it's worth a watch. So you're about to watch it on my channel, and I highly recommend you check out Josh Brett's, because I imagine he will probably put out you know, similar stuff in the future that'll probably be, you know, similar quality. So I'm going to start from the beginning, and we're going to go through it together.
A quick Google search reveals he was single-handedly responsible for 2020. But jokes aside, Vince is what you would call a fitness guru, and it doesn't take long to identify his infamy.
For those of you who don't know V-Shred, he's just a retard. Seriously.
I'm sorry, and the R word, but that guy is, if you don't know that guy's name is Vegan Gains. This guy, those in the fitness industry, I should do a different video about,
and it doesn't take long to identify his infamy.
For those of you,
I should do another video about Vegan Gains. This guy's like a vegan, and he's like so hardcore in favor of veganism that like his grandfather had a heart attack, and he was like filming it and being like, "This is what happens when you eat meat. Stupid grandpa should have been a vegan." So he's not much better than V-Shred, but
You who don't know V-Shred, he's just a retard.
There is seriously something wrong that you want innocent people to ingest highly controversial and simply dangerous ingredients.
One day I'm going to be on my deathbed. I don't want my overwhelming big regret that I watched a 50-minute V-Shred video.
Because pretty much every single video this guy puts out is full of misinformation and really does nothing except mislead people and promote garbage products in the process.
I can't believe he's saying this stuff. It's mind-blowing that he's that stupid.
This has no idea what the he's talking about.
Yeah, not a fan.
I would follow this guy too, just to give you guys some advice, like from a Marxist perspective of who you can follow in this industry that's pretty good and that will be honest about taking testosterone or steroids. Because a lot of people will lie and say that they're natural athletes when they're not, like The Rock. Dwayne The Rock Johnson will be like, no, I don't take steroids. I just look like a mountain and I put on 40 pounds of muscle in my 40s. Like, that's not how it works. Your testosterone starts to go down, in your upper 30s and mid or early 40s for most people. So if you see someone like The Rock, who in their late 30s, or like Zac Efron right now, who in their late 30s, early 40s, puts on fucking 25 pounds of muscle and become even bigger than before, they're probably on gear. They're probably on steroids. Now, people like More Plates, More Dates, and this guy, Greg Doucette, they've done some steroids, right? They've done some testosterone. They've experimented with these cycles, but they are honest about it. They don't lie to you. They say, yes, this is what I'm taking, and this is how I'm smart about it. This is how I'm trying to not mess up my body for life, right? Here's how I get blood work regularly. Here's how I do everything under the supervision of a doctor. Okay, and then they expose these liars, these people like V-Shred, who are using the fitness industry to make a bunch of money because capitalism. So under a socialist system, to bring this back to Marxism and capitalism, under a socialist system, these scammers would be put away, not like in jail, but this misinformation wouldn't be allowed to circulate, right? But with YouTube cracked down on the six-pack shortcuts guy that we were talking about earlier. But this V-Shred company is paying YouTube so much freaking money to advertise all the time that YouTube's not going to crack down on them. Follow the money, baby. Capitalism has destroyed the fitness industry.
This has no idea what the he's talking about.
Yeah, not a fan.
In an industry with so much debate, there seems to be something that everyone agrees on.
You should not listen to V-Shred, right? You just should.
But here's where it gets confusing. Despite being hated amongst the fitness community, his brand is growing year after year. And after supposedly hitting $100 million in sales within just 3 years, it would seem as if he is only becoming more and more successful. So why is V-Shred regarded as the villain of the industry? What is the reason for all the hate? And despite all of this, why is he only going to make more and more money?
Noel Dazel is funny AF too. He's honest about steroids. Yes, that guy. And then Joe Stetics. There's another guy named Joe Stetics. Hilarious Bulgarian guy. Honest. He's like, yeah, I'm on some test. He's like, here's all my stupid stories about taking giant steroid cycles and messing up my hormones when I was a kid. Don't do this. Here's what I take now. Testosterone replacement therapy under the supervision of a doctor. And I don't mind that at all. You don't have to be a natural athlete. These bodybuilders and professional weightlifters need to do some enhancements. Or actors, right? Eddie, doesn't steroids destroy your testosterone in the long run? Yeah. So a lot of these guys, what happened is they got into bodybuilding. They did a cycle of steroids to try and keep up. They did it wrong. They weren't well researched. They screwed up their testosterone. And now they need testosterone replacement therapy under the supervision of a doctor. So anybody who's lying about their steroid use is another product of capitalist fitness, and the way capitalism destroys the fitness industry, and they're hurting young kids. I guess Zac Efron did a movie where he needed to be shredded again. Yeah, now so he did Baywatch where he was like cut. Like he literally looked like I look when I'm cutting weight. I should show you guys some of the pictures of me when I make weight. I'm literally under 5% body fat, I think. It's ridiculous. It's so painful. I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy. The night before competition, I lay in bed and I sleep for 5 minutes. And then I'm so thirsty, I wake up having a dream that I'm like drinking iced tea or something. I'm like, and then you lay there for 30 minutes trying to fall back to sleep. You fall asleep for 5 seconds. You wake up again. It's the most painful thing ever. And that's what Zac Efron was doing for Baywatch, basically. Now he's doing this thing where he's playing a pro wrestler and he's just swole as crap, giant, huge, like distended gut, even like a turtle shell abs. And he's denying being on gear. He's denying being on testosterone and steroids. It's like, dude, I get you're under pressure from your agent or from the movie studios or whatever. You're under pressure from Hollywood to not talk about this stuff. But you're creating an unrealistic body expectation for young kids, young boys who look up to you and want to be like you. And you're telling them that you can achieve this physique naturally when you can't. Right? Realistically, there's only so much you can do naturally depending on your genetics. So again, this all relates to capitalism and the fitness industry. Fitness when it's marketed, right? Fitness when you're trying to sell it on the market, not when you're trying to just help people be their healthiest, which is all I really care about with talking about this stuff.
Over the past few months, I've spent way too much of my time researching V-Shred, so you don't have to. And spoiler alert, things are not as innocent as they seem.
You suck! These influencer programs can seem. You need to take a minute to find out what's real life versus what Instagram.
So, my kind of stance before I actually get into the details here is this guy is a heavy-duty internet marketer where he will go hard as fuck on the ads. Like, this guy's all over the place. He's on Snapchat. He's on Facebook. He pushes ads hard to the point where I wouldn't be surprised if to reach that $100 million in revenue, he spent how many, dozens of millions of dollars in, advertising costs. That's not to take away from the fact that he earned that revenue, but there's a huge scope of audience that is outside of like the niche fitness community of like informed individuals. There's just a general massive population of people who don't watch this kind of shit, who don't watch, Greg Doucette videos, who don't watch, whoever. Like, this is actually a relatively small community when you actually look at how like the biggest influencers are like, 1 million subscribers. Like that's a lot. But I mean, in very more mainstream niches, big influencers are guys with like 20 million subscribers. And there's a huge demographic of people that don't even watch YouTube at all. Like, obviously it's becoming more and more popular, but it seems like V-Shred goes after the uninformed. He has heavy duty marketing ad spend and goes aggressively after those who don't even know who he is probably.
So there you go. Exactly what I was describing. He goes after the uninformed. He just quantity over quality, puts his face out there, tricks uninformed people into thinking they can have a six-pack while not exercising and eating pizza, as long as they buy his program, and that's how they make their money. So everyone knows this V-Shred thing is a joke, but they keep making more money and gaining followers.
And I'm going to get into soon as well some of these statistics behind his numbers, because they're something you would only be able to pick out if you have been an influencer for a while, and I'll describe why. Maybe he touches on it in the video, but it's something I've noticed very specifically myself about his channel.
In 2015, V-Shred posted a video named Get Shredded Fast. This is his first public video on the channel, and it was pretty much your average run-of-the-mill follow-along video.
What's up, guys? Vince, the creator of the Vince Andy Six-Pack Shred here.
He then went on to post video after video and was slowly growing his brand, providing tips in a similar way to the YouTuber Athlete X. And as a result, he gained thousands and thousands of followers. Things were going great, and what seemed like an innocent, wholesome fitness channel was on the rise. Until this man came along. He highlighted how V-Shred had in fact been making content a little too similar to Athlete X, was essentially plagiarizing his videos.
He just copies everything word for word most of the time from what Athlete X does. He takes.
So it began with plagiarism, and if you know about lifting weights and form and all these things, which is the most important thing, right? The most important thing you can tell a young person getting into fitness for the first time is how to have good lifting form. So they're not hurting themselves. So they're building muscle, even if they're not lifting huge, heavy weights. And so then they can build a foundation, right? So you build a foundation of muscle and bone density through doing workouts right with good form, like my dad had me do when I was in 3rd, 4th grade. And then, if you're 22 years old, by the time you're 22, you have a good foundation, and if you decide you want to start taking some supplements to enhance yourself, okay, then you can do your research and do it at that point. But instead, these kids get this idea, I can be huge like Zac Efron today. I'm going to take Tren when I'm 15. And then that's when they screw up their hormones, and that's when they screw up their testosterone. Peta Mio says, isn't that Palumboism when somebody's gut sticks out from testosterone? Yes. So it can actually cause your intestines and your gut to become enlarged. And it distend, which is actually what Zac Efron kind of looks like right now, which Les Cassawari says, I've never seen him that big. It's insane. It is insane. It's insane how big Zac Efron is right now. And, the fact that he would deny being on enhancements is kind of absurd. I'm seeing more and more bodybuilders saying they feel awful when they're getting ready for competition and that their physique isn't sustainable. Yes. And more of them need to come out and start saying this. More of them need to be honest about this. Otherwise, you create an unrealistic body standard for young boys. I mean, we all know about the unrealistic body standard that's created by Photoshop and models and people starving them, or celebrities starving themselves for young girls, right? It's very similar for young boys, but it can even be worse in some cases because the idea for young boys is I have to take steroids, right? So young girls are starving themselves. There's a problem with them developing eating disorders, and that's horrible, terrible. But then for boys, there's this unique problem. I mean, there's overlap, right? There are boys who develop eating disorders and feel like they have to be skinny, for sure. And there are girls who feel like they have to take steroids, but it's more common for young males to feel like they need to take steroids. And then they're messing up their hormones and their testosterone production for life, right? When they should just be focusing on good form, working hard, developing good eating habits, developing good exercise habits for life, not taking steroids before you even have a foundation built. Like old Liver King, yes. And Joe Rogan actually admits to taking TRT now and growth hormones, but these bodybuilders need to admit that, right? They can't, like, it's wrong for them to continue pretending like these bodies that they get on stage with are sustainable. And to drive this point home, I've actually pulled up the pictures of myself when I make weight, right? So this is the weight class I'm getting down to right now, 72 kilograms, 158 pounds. Naturally, I weigh about 175 to 180 pounds, pretty healthy, a little bit of body fat, but not a ton. Visible abs at 175. And when I get down to 158, this is what I look like. That's me at 158 pounds. Like, literally, it looks like the skin is stretched over my muscles. And sometimes I can see my heart beating underneath my ribs. Look at that. Okay, this is not sustainable, guys. This looks good. Yes, I can look at this and I'm like, wow, good for me. Or I can think back to how difficult this was to attain. And, how I had to run and run and run just to get down to 165. Right? And then after I got to 165, which was lighter than I should be, I had to lose another 7 pounds of water weight and stuff. Okay, this is not healthy. Yeah, it looks good. It looks crazy. I enjoy looking back at these pictures and seeing how jacked I got for this, competition. But I am dreading having to do this again. I am dreading having to dehydrate myself and suck all my every ounce of fat out of my body again. Right? This is not healthy. Okay, so I understand why, athletes in bodybuilding or whatever feel, need to get to this size, because obviously I'm doing it right now again, and I've done it before in the past. But you can't lie, right? If I were to come out here and say, just buy the Midwestern Marks fitness plan for $10 a month, and you can look like me and eat pizza every night, I would be lying to you. I would probably sell a bunch of Midwestern Marks fitness plans the same way V-Shred has, but I would be misinforming you and giving the kids who watch me the idea that this is an attainable physique. I can attain this physique for about a day, and then I eat food and, I don't look like this anymore, or drink water, right? This is not natural. Something for the list. The Sporting Life of V.I. Lenin by Carter Elwood is a scholarly article that reveals so many cute things about Lenin. Oh, that sounds awesome. The Sporting Life of V.I. Lenin. I'm writing it down for later. Thank you, Sam Dixon. And thank you again for the super chat. Really, really appreciate y'all supporting our project, supporting what we're doing here via super chats and super stickers. We've had quite a few So really, really appreciate that. You've got the arms of a 7-year-old girl, my dude. Chill. Okay, buddy. All right, anonymous man. Ugh. Let's see how big your guns are, anonymous tough guy. Let's see the pictures of you when you look like this. How'd you place at the U.S. Open last year?
It's a video of athlete actions from the past, and then he decides that he is going to remake it, stumbling over the words because he doesn't understand it the way that.
Exactly, Lita Elliott. Starving only looks good because we've been brainwashed with beauty standards, right? That last picture of me was not healthy, right? That shouldn't be the ideal.
The magnifying glass was on V-Shred, and it quickly became apparent.
Unless you're that guy who said my arms are small, Sniper 7, if you don't look like me in those pictures, then you're weak-minded and your family doesn't love you. So you have to get down to that weight and dehydrate yourself like that. Otherwise, you're a loser.
That Vince had absolutely no idea what he was talking about.
And this goes for any cable extension, for any tricep extension on a cable. When you're doing a tricep extension on a cable right here, what happens is, yes, right here, and then first off, when you're doing this, a lot of
After being exposed, he began to make his own content for the first time, and this only further highlighted how clueless he was. He tried to teach people to deadlift, all while not knowing how to himself.
Talking about the Romanian deadlift, that is just when you see people stepping up to the bar, they have their feet about shoulder width apart, feet slightly pointed outwards, and they grab this bar just outside of their shins, and they pull this straight up their legs. They drive their hips forward, lock out their glutes.
He spreads tons of misinformation.
Oh, you're gonna hurt people's back, dude. You're gonna hurt people's back. That guy's basically on his toes doing deadlifts. You're gonna be deadlifting with your back. You got to get back on your heels, right? So he's spreading blatant misinformation that's gonna get people injured. Are elite sports and athletics partially to blame for this as well, or is it because they're operating within a capitalist system? I go back and forth on that, man, because like the Soviet athletes weren't too much different, right? The Soviet athletes also did a lot of this stuff, or do a lot of this stuff, and took performance-enhancing drugs. I think it's kind of just the nature of sports, right? But, like, I don't mind getting down to that weight once a year or twice a year, 3 times a year for sports, right? I know what I'm doing. I'm supervised by a doctor. I have a scientific approach to my health and fitness, right? It's not going to kill me to get down to that weight so I can compete at that weight class again, right? What I'm saying is it's bad for kids to think that that's ideal, right? For kids to think that's attainable or sustainable, right? And I got nothing against bodybuilders sucking the water out of them so they can get up on stage and look huge, right? Because they're just doing it for a small amount of time. And, a lot of them are putting stress on their heart and things, but they know what risk they're signing up for when they're getting to the highest level of their sport, right? But it's the idea that this is sustainable and achievable, which is an idea that's sold to kids because of capitalism, right? That idea that this is a sustainable body type is prevalent because of capitalism, because of scams like V-Shred, because of scams like V-Shred that'll tell you can look like this and eat pizza all the time. I haven't really gotten into reading theory. Where should I start? State and Revolution? Yes, State and Revolution and Imperialism, the Highest Stage of Capitalism. We have reading guides, full reading guides for both on our YouTube.
See, like for me, seeing how he has been so successful, even after he got exposed by Alan Roberts, got exposed by all the guys who just like fucking annihilated him, it just goes to show how his target demographic is essentially people outside of the scope of who like our videos get to. Not that like we all share the same demographic, but I mean, people on YouTube be like, I don't know, the same general interests. They kind of overlap a lot. Like you'll find a lot of these channels have, a lot of their subscribers are kind of the same as other channels in this niche. But V-Shred, his target, like his Facebook ads, Snapchat ads, etc., they go way wider than what, the general YouTube fitness community reaches from organic views. So it's not.
I see some people in the chat talking about like, I don't look perfect. I don't look super aesthetic, but I can still pick someone up and throw them, or I'm still really strong. Like, yeah, there's a huge difference between functional strength and aesthetic strength too. And what's sold to us, what's packaged and marketed to us under capitalism is aesthetic strength, right? Not functional strength, which, like I said, you can have a lot of body fat on yourself and still be a healthy adult. Or, you can have body fat and still be functionally strong as shit. Some of the strongest people I know don't even look like super shredded, right? this idea that zero body fat and sucking all the water out of your body equals health is an idea that's marketed to us by capitalism. We'll go a little bit longer with this video here.
Not surprising that a lot of people just have no idea about his reputation and or, you know, don't really like take it that seriously, I guess.
Today, I'm going to be showing you guys why the bench press is never going to get your chest any bigger.
And has even tried to invent his own dangerous exercises, to which Athlete X mocked.
Ow! Fuck me! What are you doing? What is that?
Oh yeah, I remember this fucking chest thing.
Jesse, what the fuck are you doing now? And what is up with that hair? Oh, I copied it.
But what is perhaps more of a concern is the fact that despite his apparent lack of knowledge, he is selling his own programs. And you would have thought that given his awful track record and extortionate prices, he must struggle to make sales. I mean, nobody takes him seriously, right? And that is where you would be wrong. Despite his poor reputation, most of his videos receive positive feedback, his followers are increasing, and he's only making more and more money.
Okay, so one thing a lot of people, I think, overlook when it comes to his giant following is the fact that I think a lot of it is artificially inflated. I think he bought a lot of it, to be honest. Because when you look at Social Blade, I don't know if you saw my Will Tennyson video where I like use math to kind of estimate what his subscriber count was, and I based it on similar demographics, similar views relative to subscriber ratios, and I calculated with, you know, what I assumed to be pretty reasonable accuracy what his subscriber count was at the time, and he actually messaged me privately and said I was pretty fucking spot on. And it's not hard to go to Social Blade and start looking at some of these metrics and starting to pick up patterns. And it becomes pretty obvious when something like way off. So like, for example, if you go to V-Shred's page, he's kind of like in a groove where.
All right, so I want to watch this part because it's really interesting because it proves what I was saying earlier about V-Shred selling garbage. Like we just saw, he was showing not just, you know, telling people that they can eat a pizza and have a six-pack, but literally showing people how to deadlift wrong and showing people how to do useless workouts. But I would also want to respond to this. Living in the North is rough if you don't have body fat. Oh, it's cold. True. Also very true. And when I get down to weight, it literally hurts to sit down, you guys. It hurts to sit down because I have no fat on my butt. And I've heard bodybuilders say that they can't even walk because all the padding on their feet gets eroded. Right? So I sit down and my butt is like made of bone. It's like, ow. Right? It's not healthy to have zero body fat. It's just simply not.
He's, you know, obviously doing well off of his ads at this point. He's not trying to grow his channel. He's kind of like built up his, you know, credibility with his massive channel. And now he's kind of just like cranking the ad spend because he's figured out like a, you know, a thing that works, you know, and you just pour more money into it. When your ads have a good enough return on ad spend called ROAS, you can just fucking pour into them, you know, and it's just like exponential what you can do if you know how to work Facebook ads as well as, you know, the other platforms. So for him, the YouTube is not like creating organically viewed videos is not his priority anymore. And you can see his subscriber count is growing very slowly. He's only getting, you know, an average of 67,000 views a day right now and only 667 subscribers per day because he's not trying to grow the channel. However, when he was trying to build up his credibility, you can see historically, these are his numbers way back in the day. So this is, you know, back in 2018, he was at 805,000 subscribers in January 19. And this looks like pretty linear progression. Like you'd think, oh, this guy's just putting in work. You know, this guy is, you know, cranking up the vids and people are liking them. But when you look a bit closer, it doesn't really make sense because you look here, you can see January 19. So he's gaining, you know, like 8,000, 9,000 subscribers a day, upwards of, or these are weeks, sorry. So week, you know, June 3rd to June 10th, 15,000 subscribers, 19,000, July 8th to July 15th, getting up as high as 27,000 subscribers in a week, or actually his peak is 30K, November 4th, 2019 to November 11th of 2019. But when you look at how many views the guy got during those time frames, does it line up? Let's go down to November. During that time frame, during the week when he gained 30,000 subscribers, he had 596,000 views. Does that equate? Could you possibly, in your fucking wildest dreams, with the best, most likable person, not somebody who people like actually think is a scammer and people like, you know, generally don't really trust, who, you know, copies people's ideas or whatever he does, would you ever conceivably have 1 out of every 20 people who watches your video subscribe or something like that? Like if you actually do the math, you had about, you know, 600,000 views and he jumped up 30,000 subscribers during that same time frame. Is it really realistic that every 20 people who watches is going, one person subscribes? No, that's like, let's look at me for an example. So we can use mine as a comparison just to exemplify the point. So this is my Social Blade for the past month, and you can see if I get, you know, over 600,000 views. Let's actually look at my best, highest viewed day in this month, 949,000 views. How many subscribers did I get? 4,000. I got 4,000 subscribers for 949,000 views. But V-Shred, when he gets 596,000. He gets 30,000 subscribers. Does it seem realistic that V-Shred is like 10 times more likable and subscribable than I am? Like, I'm not trying to be cocky or anything, but these are just impossible numbers. Like, the guy is getting, 600,000 views per week, and he is getting subscriber numbers that make absolutely no sense for the amount of views you're getting. Like, you simply do not have that much traffic to equate to these subscribers.
So garbage fitness advice, garbage quality, garbage, what do we call this in Marxism? Garbage use value. V-Shred is selling something that has no use value. That's not useful to anyone. But they're buying followers, right? They're buying viewers. They're buying advertisement to push their garbage, scam artist nonsense in front of impressionable, low information viewers to make money. That's all it's about. It's all it's about is making money. And that guy, later on in this movie, it's revealed that guy, Vincent Saint, the V-Shred guy, the face of the company, is just a model who was picked up by some corporate investors, some corporations with an idea, a scam idea that's, basically, if we can take this model, if we can get a model with a six-pack and get him to tell people that they can eat large pizzas every night and still have, still look aesthetic, still look like freaking Zac Efron, then we'll be able to sell a bunch of fitness programs that are insanely high margins, right? They're not helping anybody. They're not improving anybody's fitness. The use value is zero, but the exchange value is insane. And then they take the exchange value and they put it towards more marketing. They put it towards more advertising, not improving their product, right? Not helping improve people's fitness, but marketing their scam, putting their scam in front of more eyeballs so that they can deceive more people. That is what V-Shred is, and that is what capitalism has done to the fitness industry. Now, I heard someone saying they're so glad to see a Marxist analysis of the fitness industry. I mean, it's long overdue, and there needs to be an analysis of every industry like this, right? So this is actually part of a new series that we're starting at Midwestern Marx called Capitalism Ruined Blank, right? So I have one set up for Capitalism Ruined the Gaming Industry as well, talking about video games. This is how capitalism ruined the fitness industry. And it's basically, it shows how capitalism incentivizes people in every industry to put being a scam artist and marketing and exchange value above helping people and putting out an actual good product, putting out an actual useful product, a product with a use value that is constantly getting better and making people's lives better. So V-Shred is the most famous one right now, right? V-Shred is, if you're into fitness at all and you go and you're looking at YouTube videos,
Hey, what's up, guys?
V-Shred is going to pop up as an advertisement before almost every video you watch. Not almost every video you watch, right? But
what I think
V-Shred is going to be something common that you commonly see right now. But back in the day when I was a kid and when I was impressionable, it was six-pack shortcuts. It was this guy named Mike Chang. And when I was in high school, I believed this crap, right? I believed this guy that you could eat steak and pizza and pasta and no salads and just junk food every night and maintain like an 8-pack. And I would always get so mad when it didn't work, and I'd be like, my metabolism's garbage. It's just harder for me than it is for other people. And it, destroyed my view of fitness and my view of my own body and my view of health. Not completely destroyed it, but because what six-pack shortcuts was it was this guy, Mike Chang, just like mowing down. Like I said, they probably starved him for a month, starved this guy, sucked all the water out, had him get a pump in, and then he sits down and eats a bunch of pasta and films it and goes, yeah, I've been eating pasta for a month, and look at me, I'm still jacked, right? When in reality, he's been starving himself for a month before he sat down and filmed himself eating pasta and claimed he can eat 1 million calories and maintain an 8-pack. So V-Shred is just the newest form of this guy.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, multicellular organisms? So today we're talking about six-pack shortcuts. They're one of the OGs of the YouTube fitness game. And by OGs, I mean OGs. This content is horrible. So they were one of the biggest scam channels out there. They actually got banned by YouTube itself a few times for scamming people, which is good to see YouTube actually stepping up. It would be nice to see them do the same with V-Shred. I think probably it's because V-Shred is paying for ads and therefore YouTube isn't going to do anything or say anything. They don't want to rock the boat and not get that tasty ad money.
So YouTube eventually cracked down on this Mike Chang guy, but not before he lied to a whole bunch of people like Young Eddie. Young Eddie cutting weight for wrestling, which probably gave me an eating disorder and made me feel like I have to have an 8-pack at all times, like I do when I'm sucked out. And then there's this guy on YouTube when I look up fitness videos telling me that that's achievable, that I can eat pizza every night and still have an 8-pack and look like I'm cutting weight for wrestling. Well, they're lying to people, right? And YouTube eventually shut it down, but not before he was able to scam a whole bunch of people. Right, and YouTube will probably eventually shut V-Shred down too, but not yet because YouTube's making so much money off this scam. And just so you know, here's what the actual video looked like. Like this is Mike Chang's. I remember watching this video as a kid and being like, "Oh my gosh, no way! I can eat so much and still have a 6-pack." Confession: I eat like a fat guy. Sure you do, Mike Chang. I'm sure you eat like a fat guy and maintain an 8-pack abs all year round with an insane amount of muscle mass. Sure you do.
Hey, man.
Hurt Young Eddie. Yeah, he did.
I got something to tell you that might shock you.
And now I take my revenge on you, Mike Chang. Now I'm an adult. Now I understand fitness. And I'm going to be fitting this dick in your mouth. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. But this is my revenge against Mike Chang. And I'm going to tell all my young, impressionable followers how they can actually get buff, how they can actually be as healthy as possible without being scammed and lied to. 8-packs aren't part of a healthy, hydrated person, in my opinion. No. Not, I mean, it depends on your genetics, but usually not.
So most people think that I eat salads all day and starving myself to maintain abs. But in reality, I actually eat like a pig. And I think it's crazy when I see guys out there eating only like 1,000 calories a day, thinking that they're going to get ripped that way. Most guys don't realize that I eat about 4,000 calories a day, man. Sometimes even more. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not stuffing my face down with like cupcakes or donuts or ice cream or, other types of junk food like that. Even though I do have my share of, cheat meals.
Look, he's got sushi. He's got sushi, like a huge thing of it. Garlic bread, rice and broccoli, which are good and healthy, and steak, which is healthy, but a huge portion of it. And then a giant jar of peanut butter, and then whatever this is. Like, if you want to look like Mike Chang, realistically, you can probably eat this once a day, maybe. Like, if you work out twice a day and take PEDs, like Mike Chang is probably also on performance-enhancing drugs, if you look at the size of his biceps, and work out twice a day, take PEDs, and do fasted cardio in the morning, and do intermittent fasting, and just eat this at night, maybe you can maintain this body type. But the idea that I eat like a fat guy, like I can just stuff my face all the time and keep a 6-pack, no, it's not realistic. But that is what they're selling you. That is the scam they're selling you, right? So that you have this guy, this is what I've been talking about, who's fasting and working out and probably just got a pump in and has been watching his weight for a month. And then he sits down with a whole bunch of food. He's like, oh, I can have an 8-pack and eat all this. No, you can't. It's a lie. They're selling you a lie. This is a capitalist distortion of human fitness. And even people who want to get to a high level like me, I was an athlete when I saw this. I was an athlete looking on YouTube for ways to improve my fitness and take my physical fitness to the next level. And instead of getting real science-based information, I got this guy scarfing his face with an 8-pack and telling me that this is sustainable, lying to me and trying to sell you something so that they can maximize their own exchange value.
Bills. But
exchange value, for those who don't know, like, we should break this down because this is a Marxist stream after all. Exchange value is the amount of money that a commodity is worth on the market, right? So like V-Shred's fitness program has a certain exchange value, its cost, its price. And, you know, that can compare to six-pack shortcuts has its own exchange value, right? And the use value of a product is how much use it actually brings the customer, which you can't measure quantitatively. You can't measure it in a number. It's qualitative, right? It's determined by the customer and you can't measure it, right? But like More Plates, More Dates has high use value products, right? They're not really selling you anything. The margins on the Gorilla Mode products that he sells you are quite low. All his products are based in science. They're actually going to help you improve your health. They have a high use value, right? They still have a high exchange value. They still make money for Derek, the More Plates, More Dates guy, but they're actually aimed at helping people. These have no use value. These, in fact, these won't hurt people. These won't help people. They hurt people. But they bring in tons of money on the market for whoever's selling them. Tons of exchange value, which they boost at the in exchange for, or at the detriment of use value. That's what I meant.
I'm still able to eat all the foods that I like, you know? Steak, mashed potatoes, I love it. Scrambled eggs, pork chops, fajita chicken, and of course, even sushi. So you're probably wondering, how could I eat so much food and still be able to have six-pack abs? You know, it's actually...
Look at him. Dog. No, you did not just eat an entire plate of sushi, an entire jar of peanut butter, a steak, another bucket of meat, half a plate of rice and broccoli, and then look like this. Your stomach is going to be protruding just from the food that you ate. Right? This is the kind of abs that you get from starving yourself. You would not look like this. You're lying to people for money. Capitalism.
Quite simple. If you want to get ripped by eating all your favorite foods like I do, click the button below to learn exactly how I do it and how you can do the very same thing. So what am I doing differently that's allowing me to burn off everything I eat and still keeping me motivated to work out and constantly improve my body? Well, I'm doing a new and different type of training that basically allows me to burn calories for up to 48 hours after my workout is over.
There you go. There's the classic scam, right? So V-Shred says Harvard doctors have discovered a loophole to where you can burn calories all day long without exercising. Doesn't exist. Doesn't exist, doesn't exist, doesn't exist. The law of thermodynamics, calories in equals calories out. The more you exercise and the more you move, the more calories you burn, right? And there are ways to increase your metabolism and stuff, but there's no secret trick to burn calories while sitting on your butt. You're lying to people, Mike Chang.
So that means I'm burning calories in and out of the gym, while most guys are just burning calories at the gym. See, this type of training produces what is called the afterburn effect. And that's basically my secret weapon for burning tons and tons of calories without spending a lot of time in the gym.
It's called starving yourself, bro. I call it the afterburn effect. I don't eat for 4 days so I can have shredded abs, and then I get on camera and pretend I'm eating a steak and tell you that I've discovered the secret to weight loss without having to work hard. It's such a lie. It's such a marketing scam. This pisses me off even knowing that this guy got shut down.
Oh man, this one's really good. In fact, I'm burning calories while I'm watching TV, I'm laying around, just being lazy on the couch, sleeping, or even as of right now, talking to you guys, you know? So I just posted a free video showing you how it works, so go check it out by clicking the button below right now. Okay, well, I'm going to go back to eating my favorite foods now. If you want to start enjoying your favorite foods and get the six-pack abs of your dreams, click the button below, and I'll see you there.
If you want the six-pack abs of your dreams, join wrestling, join bodybuilding, suck yourself down for a month, take pictures of yourself so you have them like I do, and then you'll be able to look at them whenever you want. But you're not going to be able to sustain that, and you're especially not going to be able to sustain that eating 4,000 calories a day and sitting on the couch through the afterburn effect. Exchange value over use value, folks. This is capitalism. Under socialism, all these people would be censored. Right? Like, I believe in freedom of expression, freedom of debate, freedom of political expression, but you can't scam people. You can't lie to people about science and about the law of thermodynamics and about health and fitness, because that makes society worse. That tricks people like young Eddie into having an eating disorder. And so we're not going to allow that. The law of thermodynamics says energy won't be completely utilized no matter what, so there's no magic fat be gone technique. There's not. There is none. I wish there was. If there was, I would do it. His tone of voice is so like, haha, this is a joke, literally. And you can tell sometimes, like with Vincent Saint, the V-Shred guy, you can tell he's reading off a teleprompter and even he doesn't believe what he's saying because he's jacked. He knows, right? He knows what it actually takes to maintain his physique. It's not fun. It takes a lot of calorie suppression and appetite suppression. He knows that. But he has to go and read off this teleprompter and say, oh, I eat 3 large pizzas a night and I still got an 8-pack. And you can tell. You can tell that he doesn't believe his own bullshit. Because like I said, V-Shred is actually like a team of 4 or 5 corporate lawyers or corporate investors who just found a model to lie for them so that they can market these the V-Shred exercise techniques or whatever. Capitalists love freedom of speech because it means freedom to lie. Right. And under socialism, we'll have real freedom of speech. Adderall is the real fat loss magic pill. Yeah, I guess if there's one real magic fat loss technique, it's amphetamines. You start smoking meth and you'll never be hungry. How do I eat all this and still look like this? Simple. I pray to the fitness gods. Please make me skinny. Eddie, could you make a YouTube poll for what reading guide to do next? Imperialism reading guide was so good. Oh, I'm glad you liked it, Insomniac 2007. I'm also working on redoing that one. I'm on episode 3 or 4, but I can do that. I also have to finish the origins of the family, private property, and the state reading guide. But after I finish that, I will do a poll. Yeah, but that'll take a little bit. You heard it here first, folks. Start smoking meth. No, don't do meth. It's not worth being skinny. Not at all. So yeah, that's the Marxist analysis of V-Shred and how capitalism has ruined the fitness industry and six-pack shortcuts. Get exercise, eat healthy, eat nutritious foods, control portions. You know, if you need to burn fat, try and burn more calories than what you take in. But don't believe this nonsense. Don't fall into these capitalist scams. Capitalism, ironically, capitalism is making me a stronger anti-capitalist. That's how it works, Bashiko. That's dialectics. This comment right here, this is dialectics, right? Socialism is not a utopia. Socialism is not something that comes out of nowhere and plops in front of us tomorrow. Socialism is a system that is built out of, that emerges out of capitalism, right? Because capitalism sows the seeds of its own destruction. Because as capitalism scams people and lies to people and forces people to work harder and harder and harder for nothing, forces people to get exploited more and more and more, while the rich, people who don't work, accumulate more and more and more. As wealth accumulates at one pole, misery and discontent accumulates at the other pole, the pole of the workers. So as capitalism progresses and as capitalist accumulation progresses naturally, it creates more discontent among the workers at the bottom, who then eventually rise up, overthrow the system, and build a new one out of it. So capitalism sows the seeds of its own destruction. This is scientific socialism. This is dialectics right here. Thank you for posting that, Pashiko. Capitalism makes you a stronger anti-capitalist. Check out the poem by E.E. Cummings. A salesman is in it that stinks. Is this going to explain what we just watched? A salesman is in it that stinks, excuse. A salesman is in it that stinks, excuse. Me, whether it's president of the USA or a gentleman named Mr. Finger isn't important, whether it's millions of other punks or just a handful, absolutely doesn't matter, and whether it's in the lingerie or shrouds is immaterial, it stinks. A salesman is in it that stinks to please, but whether it will please itself or someone else makes no difference than if it sells. Hate condoms, education, snake oil, vacuum cleaners, terror, strawberries, democra, caveat emptor, see superfluous hair, or think we've met subhuman rights before. Holy crap, that's an confusing poem. I like it. I think it's saying, you know, the salesman doesn't care as long as their exchange value is high. So V-Shred and six-pack shortcuts don't care how successful their product actually is, how much it actually helps people, so long as they're selling a lot of them and making a lot of money. But definitely got to be used to reading poetry or good at deciphering poetry to read this. Right on, Eddie. Thanks, Sean Moon. That's a good recommendation. Exactly. There are so many good socialist poems. Did people know that Langston Hughes was a Marxist-Leninist? Langston Hughes, one of the most famous American poets of all time, was part of the Harlem Renaissance, where all these black thinkers and poets and socialists were coming up with all this awesome art. Thank you for the show, Eddie. You bet. Thank you. Thank you for recommending the poem. But what's not, and we're taught about the Harlem Renaissance, but we're not taught that a lot of them were socialists. In fact, almost all of them, because they recognized that capitalism is racist. So this is Langston Hughes. I once read this poem for a socialist night school event at my college. And it was very hype. Lenin walks around the world. Frontiers cannot bar him. Neither barracks nor barricades impede, nor does barbed wire scar him. Lenin walks around the world. Black, brown, and white receive him. Language is no barrier. The strangest tongues believe him. Lenin walks around the world. The sun sets like a scar. Between the darkness and the dawn, there rises a red star. Ooh! I got goosebumps right now. That shit is hype. That shit gets me pumped. Especially black, brown, and white receive him. Language is no barrier. The strangest tongues believe him. Right? The science of Marxism can reach everybody, every language, all the oppressed people of the world. Because we have more in common with laboring people in another country than we do with the bourgeoisie of our own country exploiting us in many ways. Bars. Facts. Langston Hughes was dropping bars. Are we on a new topic or talking about the fitness scammer? We're transitioning away from the fitness scammer. I just talked about him for an hour and a half. I was about to suggest a Langston Hughes poem. Nice. Nice. That's a beautiful poem. Also, you can hear a tinge of yearning to fight in it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Love it. Love it, love it. I gotta run to the bathroom, y'all. We'll keep this stream going for a while longer, but I'm not ready to be done yet, despite the fact that I was tired when I hopped on stream. Langston Hughes gave me a whole bunch of energy. So let me quick play an intermission video. Is this the match where I fought the guy? Oh, no, it's not. I'll have to... I got in a fight in one of my college wrestling matches. I'll have to play that sometime, but this is a good one, too. I'm in the purple. BRB. How am I doing, y'all? Am I winning? I think I kicked the crap out of this guy. He was pretty good, but he did not have what it takes. He did not have the sauce. I was in really good shape for this tournament, too. Gosh, I'm just breaking this boyo. This is a really good match for me, wasn't it? Doing a lot of good stuff. I want to see how I set that one up. Snap, go. Snap, fire. Please play the fisticuffs match, LOL. Okay, fine. I'll try and find it. Just because I don't have any more topics to talk about other than the how capitalism ruined the gaming industry. I want to say this was my junior year that I got in the fight. I didn't actually hit the guy, but I taunted him because I was beating him by 12, which is a lot in wrestling. Like a few points away. Here it is. Here, a few points away from the match being stopped because I'm winning by 15, which is technical superiority. And this kid turns around. He's on bottom, so he turns around. He's like, "I'll fuck you up," and I'm like, "Sure you will, buddy. You're losing by 12." He didn't actually say it like that, but we'll see if I can find it here. So took him down. This kid was like a 3-time state champ in Illinois too, so he wasn't used to getting his little pansy ass whooped like this, but he should have gotten used to it. Like, if you're gonna get that mad about losing, don't suck so bad, bruh. Like, it's not my fault you're garbage. Like, be better. I'm sorry. I'm being mean. So I think this is where he said it. Look, he turns around and says, no, not yet. Not yet. Not yet. It's not here yet, folks. I think here it is. Whenever I jump around is when he did it. Okay, so this one must not be it yet. So he got 2 cautions. There you go. He turned around and he said it. He's like, oh, F you up. After he got 2 cautions. He's like, learn the rules, dog. And you're not going to F anyone up. You're losing by 11 or 12. Okay, so he's losing by 11. He gets 3 cautions in a row and gives up a point. Now I'm jumping around. He's turned around and said, I'm going to F you up. And I'm like, we'll see what you're going to do. So he got out, and at this point, so then he got a point taken away for punching.
This is a reminder.
Alexa, stop. So then I taunted him. I don't know if you guys saw that, but that's not normal to do in a wrestling match. It was the only time I ever taunted someone. So he said, I'm going to F you up. And I stood up, and I said, what are you going to do? You're losing by 12. One of my finest moments there. I said, what are you going to do? You're losing by 12. And then I grabbed him, and here I started whispering in his ear. I'm like, what do you got? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Where is it, buddy? Where is it? How are you going to F me up? And then the ref took a point away from me. And then one of my teammates screamed, you effing something or something. And then the ref took a team point away. So within the course of like 20 seconds, there were like three penalty points. Okay, and then this kid, when we were shaking hands in the line, both teams line up and they shake hands at the end. This kid goes, I'll see you at regionals, meaning the end of the year. And then at regionals, when I was in the finals, he was in the stands watching because he was out because he sucks. And I walked up to him and I said, hey, you were right. You get to see me at regionals. You get to see me wrestle in the finals from the stands. So, big dubs. Peak wrestling drama. Absolutely. Sportsmanship, 10 out of 10. I usually like to keep the sportsmanship high, but that guy was a freaking punk. I learned later that he had like some family issues and like WWE or something. It was like a freaking WWE event or something. So there you go. Now that's the video of me fighting. The closest I ever got to getting in a fight.
Bye, Darman fam.
Okay. So I want to cover one more thing here before I end it. Do y'all know who Darman is? Darman. If you watch Cody Ko and Noel Miller, Tiny Meat Gang, they cover Darman. It's this guy who does like goofy, silly videos that just get millions and millions and millions of views. Yeah, Darman sucks. Exactly. He's been underpaying his actors. Basically not paying them anything for these videos that are some of the most popular videos on any social media platform across the internet. Who doesn't know Darman? Yeah, literally, he's so popular. But he's been paying his actors, like none of them have been making enough money to make rent. So all of his actors started their own little thing called Good Works. They basically went on strike, and then Darman attacked them and basically won't pay, or said he won't pay them more. He started hiring a bunch of scabs. So these Darman actors then went ahead and made their own thing called Good Works Productions. And I just want to support them since they're actors who are basically on strike. I don't know Darman. He just does these like silly videos with like a message or a moral to them. and they're made like pretty simplistic with pretty simple stories to understand, where the words are pronounced very clearly, and then they're captioned in every different language, so that, and the reason they get all these views is because a lot of non-English speakers watch the videos, or a lot of people who have English as a second language, right? So these videos are just aimed at mass appeal, and they get mass appeal. They get hundreds and thousands and millions of views, but this guy hasn't been paying his actors. So they started their own little production company, and here's them basically explaining what went down.
Bye, Darman fam.
And protesting.
Over this past week, the YouTuber Darman has been under several allegations of mistreatment towards actors by his now former actors, and he's finally spoken out about it in a very lengthy statement. In today's day and age, it seems like worker uprisings are coming from all over the place. You guys may have recently heard of over 250 Starbucks stores unionizing, where workers were demanding better working conditions, fair schedules, and the freedom from unfair dismissals. And the recent later worker uprising has been happening at Darman Studios. Now, for those of you who haven't been up to date, these past 2 weeks, Darman, the YouTuber with over 17 million subscribers on his YouTube, 15 on TikTok, and 29 on Facebook, has been under the spotlight for not the greatest reasons. If you've been on social media over the last couple of years, chances are
huge with the ESL community. Yeah, English as a second language community. That's where Darman's videos are the biggest. Which, he's mass marketing these videos to people who speak English as a second language, and they're very successful, and then not paying his actors. So, he's pretending to be this good guy, this upstanding guy, this guy who caters his content to immigrant communities and stuff. When he's really just an exploitative capitalist not paying his workers. I'm so glad to have never heard of this guy. Yeah. And it's interesting that this video frames the Darman uprisings in the context of all the worker uprisings that have been going on. They mention Starbucks and Amazon, but they don't even mention like the John Deere strikes, and a lot of the stuff that's been going on in blue collar industries, as well as industries like this.
that you've probably once ran across these type of videos. These videos that Darman makes are nothing revolutionary. They apprise simple stories with motivational type of messages, like don't judge a book by its cover, or things like follow your dreams. His videos have become extremely popular on social media, breaking millions upon millions of views per episode, and shockingly enough, he's now getting called out for not upholding the same standards he preaches in his videos to his actors, the ones who work behind the scenes to make his videos.
Going my page or other people's pages from the show that I'm on, you probably know.
So this guy's video went viral. I've watched his whole video, basically breaking down how little they were being paid, and not a single one of these actors could afford rent, right? And they're making videos with millions upon millions upon millions of views, and he's not giving them enough money to make or to pay rent. So, between V-Shred and six-pack shortcuts and Darman, we're covering a lot of YouTube exploitation today. A lot of internet scams, which, there's less regulation for this stuff. Makes it a lot easier when the actors are considered private contractors. So, their bosses don't have to give them certain benefits, certain protections that normal employees have under the law. And I mean, this is happening with actors too, but it's the same thing with the UFC, with the WWE, with Uber drivers and Lyft drivers. The employees are kept as private contractors, so the employers don't have to pay them and don't have to give them health care. And here they weren't even making enough to pay their freaking rent, with, despite being part of one of the most successful YouTube video production companies and Facebook video production companies in the world, like what IGN did with everyone. Really, I didn't know that, but wouldn't be surprised. Which is sad, because IGN has so much amazing content, but that's produced by their employees, right? It's not produced by the bosses. The bosses are just trying to pay the employees as little as possible for that amazing content they put out. Are there written works covering exploitation in these new industries / spaces of factory workers' exploitation is much more in your face than some of the newer industries? Great point, Samarando. A great point. I'm working on doing some more stuff with the UFC, but Carlos has done one with Uber and Lyft, talking about how they're private contractors in relation to this Prop 22 bill that passed in California that made it much easier for corporations to do this. But we do need to update our analysis. We do need to update our theory for exploitation in the modern world. These forms of exploitation that are different than just a blue-collar factory worker and, you know, in many ways are more hidden and have different techniques for sucking every last bit of value out of the workers. They have all these other channels under them and pretty much ruined all those shows. That's terrible to hear.
That some stuff is going down, so I want to give a little bit of an explanation of it. Essentially, as an actor at Darman Studios, I am just a contract player. I have no employment there. I am just sort of called every now and then, as are all the other actors, and it just is not sustainable. And there are a lot of issues at hand here, but one of the main issues is that not a single actor that works at Darman Studios can afford rent. This is a show that has millions of views across multiple social media platforms.
And don't call yourself Darman Studios if you're not going to pay your workers enough to afford rent. You're not a studio then. You're just a YouTuber who's tricking people into acting for you for free.
Videos are shot, edited, posted, repackaged as new videos, reposted in other places over and over and over and over and over again, racking in millions of views, ad revenue, all this sort of stuff. The studio has continued to expand for some time. My entire tenure there, when I first started, we shot everything.
There's also books like David Graeber, who's an anarchist, but Bullshit Jobs is a book he did about all these different jobs where people, you know, a lot of people aren't even working all day. They're just kind of doing nothing all day and getting paid for it, but they still have to spend 40 hours a week in a cubicle or whatever. That's a good one. Bullshit Jobs by David Graeber. I'd like to see a deep dive into worker exploitation in call centers. I have an endless amount of horror stories from my time working in them. And I know it's even worse in the global south. Yeah, places like that, terrible. There are a lot of MMA fighters who will work in call centers. And you're literally just picking up the phone, reading off a script, and it like dehumanizes you and alienates you from other people. Because, you know, the way you look at communication with other human beings changes. Because you're just reading off this script and trying to sell people something rather than actually communicating with them. Yep, me. I do a bullshit job. And there you go. You can read that book. David Graeber. You'll love it. Even though he's an anarchist, so be careful. Call center work is hella dehumanizing. Absolutely. And the place, my hometown it was almost all like immigrant workers who struggled to find work other places who would work the call centers.
As I've told you guys on lives and things like that, we shot everything in an apartment building downtown, in an apartment, not even a building.
And when actors had brought up all these concerns to Darman or the executives, they were allegedly fired or didn't get access to a meeting with Darman himself when they had asked for one. Some of the former Darman actors, Myra Mulroney, Chas Lawlin, and Colin, have all come forward to speak out on how they think they've been treated unfairly. They continued with claims that they did not make enough money to even afford rent and are struggling to sit Darman one-on-one for a conversation. All over TikTok, these actors have been seen protesting outside of the Darman studio and on the streets, and recently had a press conference about their boss. Myra, one of the former actors of Darman Studios, also made a TikTok live addressing some of the comments she was getting, where some people were debating about whether these actors were entitled to a better pay. And here's what she had to say.
That it's not a big deal, like what you are going through, and you are YouTube actors, so you shouldn't be getting paid. And I don't want to pure rant about this.
No, that's okay. And it's a good point. I mean, that's like me saying, well, you work at McDonald's, so you shouldn't be getting paid. That doesn't make sense.
Exactly. You're always going to be able to find scabs, right? You're always going to be able to find people who, here, come work for us. All our workers are on strike, right? Take advantage of the situation. You'll always be able to find opportunists, people who put their own individual interests above the entire working class, right? But that doesn't mean every person who spends all day working doesn't deserve a good life, doesn't deserve good pay, doesn't deserve healthcare, right? Everybody who works a full-time job deserves these things. But until we have solidarity with the working class and we stop going, well, you know, you should have just worked harder, or you should have just, you know, made your boss pay you more, Or, you know, if someone else can come in and do your job, that means you don't deserve to get paid. Right? If we have this individualistic, opportunist, selfish little bitch, selfish outlook on it, and don't have any solidarity as workers, then we can allow the capitalists to dice us up and divide us and pit us against each other. Right? Yeah, you can come in and, you know, there are other people who can come in and probably do the same job as these actors. Right? That doesn't mean these actors don't deserve health care. That doesn't mean these actors should have to work 40 hours a week for Darman and not be able to afford rent at the end of the month. Duh.
You work somewhere, you put in work, absolutely you should be getting paid. And yes, he does pay us. It just, he pays us not enough for what we are bringing to the table. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're working for a company for a long time and it starts out as a small company, as the company grows, you usually grow with it. It doesn't really make sense that someone would try to make...
You don't. You don't. Unfortunately, ma'am, the things that you have been experiencing at Darman Studios are a symptom of the capitalist system. Unfortunately, it's not just Darman being a bad person. Unfortunately, no matter what sector of the capitalist economy you're in, the workers do not grow with the company. The workers' labor is exploited, which leads to accumulation at the top. But as accumulation accumulates at the top, misery and exploitation and degradation accumulates at the bottom. So you don't actually grow with the company. Your labor accumulates wealth for the company, but the company has no obligation to let you share in that wealth. And that is what's wrong with the capitalist system.
Make the argument of like, you're just a YouTube actor. Hey, I'm okay with working on things for a smaller...
Bye, Lita. Thanks for hanging out with us, and thanks for leaving so many awesome, insightful comments. Appreciate you being here. Have a good day.
Smaller rates and stuff when I know that the project is small. But when a company or a person is...
It's now been public that Darman has since publicly responded to all these accusations against him. In a lengthy post on his community tab on his YouTube channel a couple of days ago, Darman addressed the protests and allegations from his actors.
And Darman, of course, doubled down. Was like, I'm not going to pay them. They're being selfish. Typical capitalist. Accumulating. It's just interesting when one of these workers' protests or one of these workers' strikes in a specific business or a specific industry is public and we all get to see it. Because, right, it's not just Darman. Like, this was such a hot button issue and was picked up by so many news outlets because Darman is famous and popular. But this happens, like I said, in every workplace, in every single capitalist industry, in every sector of the capitalist economy, not just Darman, right? This just is a microcosm, a little micro. It allows us to see how the capitalist system works on a macro scale in this little one workplace or little one industry, which is why I thought it was interesting that this video framed the Darman protests within the context of, you know, Starbucks worker uprisings, Amazon worker uprisings, etc. Throughout the pandemic, it was all just calls at the call center of people looking to cancel services for their dead parents. I was fired for not offering them promotion codes. Jesus. Wow. What a story, Mark. That's terrible. It's like Barstool Sports when he's saying he'll fire unionized workers. Yes. Dave Portnoy is the most arrogant moron I've ever seen in my life. When you listen to that guy talk about MMA, or like when you listen to him talk about anything that you understand, you realize how stupid he is, right? Because he'll have no idea what he's talking about. He'll say like 10 things in a row that are just like blatantly, objectively wrong. Dave Portnoy will. And he'll say them so confidently. He'll be like, Paddy Pimblett would destroy Conor McGregor and would destroy Khabib. And you're like, if you're an MMA fan, you're like, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. But you're saying it so confidently that other people who are uninformed about this topic aren't going to believe you. And then Dave Portnoy will also talk about how his workers are lazy, how they're not as tough and smart as him, and how if they were as smart as him, they would have as much money as him. Like, dude, I cannot wait for the revolution to come and just seize all your wealth so you just shut the hell up for once. Whoa, huge super chat from Kakashi Sensei. Thank you, Kakashi Pop Sash. Huge $20 super chat. Thank you so much for supporting our project. That Can't explain, can't put into words how much this financial support helps what we do here. I delivered car parts for a living, and the addiction issue hit me like a freight train yesterday when I couldn't use Dunkin' and McDonald's and a BKS bathroom yesterday because they had a problem with people ODing in them. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. Yeah, it's partially the opioid crisis. Like, so much of that stems from the pharmaceutical companies pushing opioids on people still, right? 20 years even after we know that Purdue Pharma and the Sackler family and all these companies lied to us in order to sell us opioids, which has been proven by a great study by Jonathan Marks called The Corporate Influence in the Opioid Epidemic, or something like that. And it's also been detailed by me in the Journal of American Socialist Studies, where I give a historical analysis of the development of American healthcare. And you can get that on paperback or ebook right here at MidwesternMarks.com. But very proud of that work. But yeah, it's terrible, and it's a result of capitalism. People want to see that as an individualistic issue too. Oh, just don't do drugs. Just don't do them, right? Just don't do drugs and be healthy. If you overdose, that's your fault. Should have pulled yourself up by your bootstraps. Like, okay, what if I tore my Achilles and I went in for surgery and they gave me opioids and then I got hooked on them and then I ran out of money, right? I was told by a doctor and by a pharmacist that I could take these. And early on in the opioid crisis, they were prescribing people insane doses of opioids because the pharmaceutical companies were lying about what they actually had. They were lying about the chemical properties of their medicine. So doctors thought they could prescribe way, 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 way more than they could, and they got all these people hooked. And a lot of these people eventually run out of money for prescriptions and fall into heroin. I mean, this happened to Stephan Bonner recently. An MMA pioneer and a legend who, of course, the UFC abandoned and Dana White abandoned. And then when Stephan Bonner died of opioid addiction, and the UFC was like, oh, rest in peace. What a legend. We loved him so much. Like, oh, yeah? Why didn't you love him when he was here on Earth? Why didn't you take care of him financially and take care of his health care when he was here on Earth? But either way, it happened to him recently. It can happen to anybody. Opioid wars. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Pop Satch, though. Really, really appreciate that. With that, I got to head out, y'all. Really appreciate the super chats from Sam Dixon, from Pop Satch. Appreciate all the moderators like Ware Pilgrim, Peta Mio. We appreciate all the long-term followers, Unparalleled Dev, Sean Moon, Cobra Commander's another moderator. Pashiko One. Tons of you are regular followers. I love the community that we're building over here. Together, we're educating ourselves about theory. We're exposing the ways that capitalism ruins the fitness industry, the gaming industry, and everything that we love. And we're getting smarter together. We're getting more organized together, and revolution is on the horizon, comrades. Don't forget it. Much love. Take care, everyone. Thank you for streaming. Thank you all for being here. I love streaming. I love hanging out with you all. Much love. We'll see you next time.